Chapter 23. The Book on Jihad. Chapter 1. What has been related about the people who have an excuse not to participate. Narrated Al-Bara bin Asib that the Messenger of Allah said, "Bring me a shoulder blade or tablet." Then he wrote, "Not equal are those of believers who sit." Amr bin Maktum, who was behind him, said, "Is there an exemption for me?" So the following was revealed, "Except those who are disabled." There are narrations on this topic from Ibn Abbas, Jabir and Said bin Thabit. This hadith is Hasan Sahih, and it is a hadith that is Gharib from the narration of Suleiman at-Taimi from Abu Ishaq and Shuba, and at-Favri reported this hadith from Abu Ishaq, Great Sahih. Chapter 2. What has been related about one who goes out for battle, abandoning his parents. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. A man came to Prophet seeking permission to go for jihad, so he said, Do you have parents living? He said, "Yes." He said, "Then it is for them that you should perform jihad." Abu Isa said, "There is something on this topic from Ibn Abbas. This hadith is Hasan Sahih." One of the narrators, Abul Abbas, is the blind Al-Ama poet Ash-Shair from Makkah, and his name is As-Sab bin Farouk, Great Sahih. Chapter 3. What has been related about a lone man being sent as a commander over a military expedition. Narrated Al-Hajjaj bin Muhammad that Ibn Jurayj commented on Allah saying, "Obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those in authority among you." He said, Abdullah bin Hudhafa bin Qais bin Adi as-Sami was sent by the Messenger of Allah over a military expedition. I was informed of that by Yala bin Muslim from Sayyid bin Jubair from Ibn Abbas. Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hasan Sahih Gharib. We do not know if it except as a narration of Ibn Jurayj. Great Sahih. Chapter 4. What has been related about it being disliked for a man to travel alone. Narrated Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, "If the people knew what I know about being alone, then a rider would not journey at night." Meaning alone. Great Sahih. Narrated Amr bin Shuaib. From his grandfather, that the Messenger of Allah said, "The lone rider is a shaitan, and two riders are two shaitan. Three is a traveling party." Abu Isa said, "The hadith of Ibn Umar, number 1673, is Hasan Sahih. We do not know of it except from this route, as a narration of Asim, and he is Ibn Muhammad bin Said bin Abdullah bin Umar. Muhammad said, he is trustworthy, truthful, and Asim bin Umar al-Umari is weak in hadith. I do not report anything from him. The hadith of Abdullah bin Amr, number 1674, is better. Great Hassan. Chapter 5. What has been related about the permission to lie and be deceitful in war. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah that the Messenger of Allah said, War is deceit. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Ali, Zayd bin Thabit, Aisha, Ibn Abbas, Abu Huraira, Asma bint Yazid bin As-Sakan, Ka'b bin Malik, and Anas bin Malik. This hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 6. What has been related about battles of the Prophet Sos and how many there were. Narrated Abu Ishaq. I was next to Zayd bin Arqam when he was asked, how many battles did the Prophet fight? He said 19. So I said, how many battles did you take part in with him? He said 17. I said, which of them was the first? He said, Dat al-Ushaira or al-Usaira. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. What has been related about lining up and positioning at the time of fighting. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Auf. The Messenger of Allah positioned us during the night at Badr. Abu Isa said, there is something on this topic from Abu Ayyub. This hadith is Gharib. We do not know of it except from this route. I asked Muhammad bin Ismail about this hadith, but he did not know it. And he said, Muhammad bin Ishaq heard from Ikrimah, and when I saw him, he had a good opinion about Muhammad bin Humayd al-Razi. Then he considered him weak later. Great Da'if. Chapter 8. What has been related about supplicating at the time of fighting. Narrated Ibn Abi Awfa. I heard him saying, meaning the Prophet, was supplicating against the Asab. O Allah, revealer of book, severe is reckoning, rout the Asab and shake them. Abu Isa said, there is something on this topic from Ibn Masud. This hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 9. What has been related about standards. Narrated Jabir. The Messenger of Allah entered Mecca and his standard was white. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Gharib. We do not know of it except as a narration of Yahya bin Adam. From Sharik, he said, I asked Muhammad about this hadith, but he did not know it except as a narration of Yahya bin Adam. From Sharik, he said, more than one narrator has narrated to us from Sharik, from Ammar bin Abu As-Subair, from Jabir. The Prophet entered Mecca and he was wearing a black imama. Muhammad said, this is the hadith. Abu Isa said, Dun is a branch of Bajila, the tribe. And Ammar ad-Duni, one of the narrators, is Ammar bin Muawiyah ad-Duni, and his kunya is Abu Muawiyah. He is from Al-Kufa, and he is trustworthy according to the people of Hadith. Great Hassan. Chapter 10. What has been related about flags. Narrated Yunus bin Ubaid. The freed soul of Muhammad bin Al-Qasim said, Muhammad bin Al-Qasim sent me to Al-Bara bin Asib to ask him about the flag of the Messenger of Allah. He said, It was a black square of Namira. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Ali al-Harith bin Hassan and Ibn Abbas. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hassan Gharib. We don't know of it except from the report of Ibn Abi Saida and Abu Yaqub. At-Fakafi's name is Ishaq bin Ibrahim. Ubaydullah bin Musa also reports from him. Great Hassan. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The flag of the Messenger of Allah was black, and his standard was white. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hassan Gharib from this route, as a narration of Ibn Abbas, great Sahih. Chapter 11. What has been related about code words. Narrated Al-Muhallab bin Abi Sufra, from one who heard the Prophet saying, if you suffer a surprise attack from the enemy, then say, Ha min, they will not be victorious. Abu Isa said, there is something on this topic from Salama bin al-Aqwa. This is how some of them reported it from Abu Ishaq, the same as the narration of At-Favri, and it has been reported from him, from Al-Muhallab bin Abi Sufra, from the Prophet in Mursal form, great Sahih. Chapter 12. What has been related about the description of the sword of the Messenger of Allah sauce. Narrated Uthman bin Sa'd that Ibn Sirin said, I made my sword like the sword of Samura bin Jundab. Samura claimed that he made his sword like the sword of the Messenger of Allah, and it was a Hanafiya. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Gharib. We do not know of it except through this route. Yahya bin Sa'id al-Qattan has criticized Uthman bin Sa'd, the scribe, and he graded him weak due to his memory. Great Da'if. Chapter 13. What has been related about breaking fast at the time of fighting. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. During the year of the conquest, when the Prophet reached Mad Saran, he told us that we would meet the enemy. So he ordered us to break the fast, and we all broke our fast. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hassan Sahih, and there is something on this topic from Ibn Umar, great Sahih. Chapter 14. What has been related about going out during the time of fright. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Prophet rode a horse belonging to Abu Talha called Mandub. He said, there is nothing to be frightened of, and we found him to be quick like the sea. Abu Isa said, there is something on this topic from Ibn Amr al-As, great Sahih. Narrated Anas bin Malik. There was a cause of fright in Al-Madinah, so the Messenger of Allah borrowed a horse of ours called Mandub. He said, I have not seen anything to be frightened of, and we found him to be quick like the sea. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hassan Sahih, great Sahih. Narrated Anas. The Prophet was the nicest person among the people, the most generous of the people, and the bravest among the people. He said, the inhabitants of Al-Madinah became frightened one night upon hearing a loud noise. He said, so the Prophet met them upon an unsaddled horse belonging to Abu Talha, with a sword hanging around his neck. He said, I found him to be quick like the sea, meaning the horse. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 15. What has been related about standing firm during the time of fighting. Narrated Abu Ishaq from Al-Bara bin Asib, who said, a man said to us, did you flee from the Messenger of Allah, O Abu Umara? He said, no, by Allah, I did not flee from the Messenger of Allah, but some hasty people fled, and the tribe of Hawazin assaulted them with arrows. The Messenger of Allah's sauce was on his white mules, and Abu Sufyan bin al-Harith bin Abdul Muttalib was holding its reins. The Messenger of Allah was saying, I am the Prophet without lie, I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Ali and Ibn Umar, great Sahih. Narrated Ibn Umar, indeed we saw the day of Hunain, and indeed the two armies fled from the Messenger of Allah, and there did not remain 100 men with the Messenger of Allah. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Garib as a narration of Ubaydullah. We do not know of it except from this route. Great Sahih. Chapter 16. What has been related about swords and their ornamentation. Narrated Talib bin Hujayr from Hud bin Abdullah bin Saad from his grandfather Masida, who said, the Messenger of Allah on the day of the conquest, and there was gold and silver on his sword. Talib said, so I asked him about the silver, and he said, the handguard of his sword was of silver. Abu Isa said, there is something on this topic from Anas. This hadith is Hasan Garib, whose great-grandfather's name is Masida al-Asari, great Hassan. Narrated Anas, the handguard on the sword of the Messenger of Allah was made from silver. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Garib. This is how it has been reported from Hammam, from Qatada, from Anas, while some of them reported it from Qatada, from Sayyid bin Abu al-Hassan, who said, the handguard on the sword of Messenger of Allah was made from silver. Great Sahih. Chapter 17. What has been related about a coat of mail. Narrated As-Zubair bin al-Awam. On the day of Uhud, the Prophet wore 2 coats of mail. He tried to get up on a boulder, but was not able to. So Talha squatted under him, lifting the Prophet upon it such that he could sit on the boulder. So he said, paradise, it is obligated from Talha. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Safwan bin Umayyah and As-Sa'ib bin Yazid. This hadith is Hasan Garib. We do not know of it except through the narration of Muhammad bin Ishaq, great Hassan. Chapter 18. What has been related about the helmet. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Prophet entered Makkah during the year of the conquest, and upon his head was a helmet, Migfar. It was said to him, Ibn Qatal is clinging to the covering of the Kaaba, so he said, kill him. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih Garib. We do not not know of anyone important who reported it other than Malik from As-Suri, great Sahih. Chapter 19. What has been related about the virtue of horses, narrated Urwa al-Bariki, that the Messenger of Allah said, goodness will remain in the forelocks of horses until the day of judgment. They bring about rewards and spoils of war. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Ibn Umar, Abu Sayyid, Jarir, Abu Huraira, Asma bin Yazid, Al-Mughira bin Shuba, and Jabir. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih. Udwa is Ibn al-Jad al-Bariki, and they say he is. Urwa bin al-Jad Ahmad bin Hanbal said, the fiqh of this hadith is that jihad is with every imam until the day of judgment. Great Sahih. Chapter 20. What has been related about what is recommended regarding horses, narrated Ibn Abbas. That the Messenger of Allah said, the blessing of the horse is in its redness. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Garib. We do not know of it except from this route, from the narration of Shayban, great Hasan. Narrated Abu Qatada, that the Prophet said, the best horse is the black one, with a spot on the face and white on the upper lip, then the one with some white on his lower legs, except for the rights. So if it is no black, then the Kumite red one with black on its ears and its mane, with these markings, great Hasan. Another chain with similar meaning. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Garib Sahih, great Hasan. Chapter 21. What has been related about what is disliked in horses. Narrated Abu Huraira, that the Prophet disliked shikal in horses. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih. Shuba reported similarly from Abdullah bin Yazid al-Kafami, from Abu Surah, one of the narrators in the chain of this hadith, from Abu Huraira, from the Prophet. Abu Surah bin Amr bin Jarir's name is Harim. Muhammad bin Hamad al-Rasi narrated to us, he said, Jarir narrated to us from Umara bin al-Kaka, who said, Ibrahim an-Nakai said to me, when you narrate from me, then narrate from me, from Abu Surah. For one time he narrated a hadith to me, then I asked him about it 2 years later, and he did not leave a letter out of it. Great Sahih. Chapter 22. What has been related about contests and racing, narrated Ibn Umar. The Messenger of Allah arranged for the Muddamar among horses to race from Al-Hafiya to Thaniya al-Wada, between which was a distance of 6 miles, and for whatever horse was not among the Muddamar, they raced from Thaniya al-Wada to the Majid of Banu Suraik, between which was a distance of a mile. I was among those who raced, and my horse jumped along with me over a wall. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Abu Huraira, Jabir Anas, and Aisha. This hadith is Hasan Sahih Garib, as a narration of At-Favri, great Sahih. Narrated Abu Huraira. that the Prophet said, "No stake is acceptable except in archery, racing a camel and racing a horse." Great Hassan. Chapter 23. What has been related about it being disliked to mate a donkey with a horse. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Messenger of Allah was a slave of Allah who would order as he has been ordered to. He did not give an order to us instead of the people regarding anything except for free. He ordered us that we make our wudu well, isbag, that we not eat from charity, and that we not mate a donkey with a horse. Abu Isa said, "There is something on this topic from Ali. This hadith is Hassan Sahih." Sufyan at-Thawri reported this from Abu Jadam, who said, from Ubaydullah bin Abdullah bin Abbas from Ibn Abbas, he said, "I heard Muhammad say, the narration of at-Thawri is not preserved. At-Thawri made a mistake in it. What is correct is what Ismail bin Ulayya and Abul Warid bin Sayyid reported from Abu Jadam, from Abdullah bin Ubaydullah bin Abbas from Ibn Abbas." Great Hassan. Chapter 24. What has been related about seeking assistance from Allah by the destitute Muslims. Narrated Abu al-Darda. That he heard the Prophet saying, "Seek your weak for me, for indeed your sustenance and aid is only by your weak." Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hassan Sahih, great Sahih." Chapter 25. What has been related about bells on horses being disliked. Narrated Abu Huraira. That the Messenger of Allah said, "The angels do no accompany a group among whom there is a dog or a bell." Abu Isa said, "There are narrations on this topic from Ibn Umar, Habiba, and Salama. This hadith is Hassan Sahih, great Sahih." Chapter 26. What has been related about who is placed in charge during war. Narrated Al-Bara. The Prophet sent two armies, placed Ali bin Abi Talib as the commandant of one of them and Khalid bin Al-Walid over the other. He said, "Where there is fighting, then Ali is in command." He said, so Ali conquered a fortress and took a slave girl. Khalid bin Al-Walid wrote a letter and sent me with it to the Prophet to speak against him for it. So I arrived to the Prophet to read the letter. The color of his face changed. Then he said, "What do you think about a man who loves Allah and His Messenger, and Allah and His Messenger love him?" He said, I said, "I seek refuge from angering Allah and angering His Messenger. I am only the Messenger." So he was silent. Abu Isa said, "There is something about this from Ibn Umar. This hadith is Hassan Garib. We do not know of it except from the narration of Al-Awas bin Jawab." And his saying, "To speak against him for that," refers to Namima, great Daif. Chapter 27. What has been related about the Imam. Narrated Ibn Umar. That the Prophet said, "Indeed each of you is a shepherd, and all of you will be questioned regarding your flock. The commander who is in authority over the Muslims is responsible, and he will be questioned regarding his responsibility. The man is responsible over the inhabitants of his house, and he is the one who will be questioned about them. The wife is responsible in her husband's house, and she will be questioned about it. The slave is responsible regarding his master's property, and he will be questioned about it. Indeed, each of you is a shepherd, and each of you will be questioned about his flock. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Abu Huraira, Anas, and Abu Musa. The hadith of Abu Musa is not preserved, and the hadith of Anas is not preserved, and the hadith of Ibn Umar is Hasan Sahih hadith, great Sahih. Ibrahim bin Bashar al-Ramadi reported it from Sufyan bin Uyayna, from Burayd bin Abdullah bin Abu Burda, from Abu Burda, from Abu Musa, from the Prophet. Muhammad informed me of that. From Ibrahim bin Bashar al-Ramadi, Muhammad said, more than one has reported it from Sufyan, from Burayd bin Abu Burda, from Abu Burda, from the Prophet, in Mursal form. This is more correct. Muhammad said, Ishaq bin Ibrahim reported from Muad bin Hisham, from his father, from Qatada, from Anas, from the Prophet, who said, indeed Allah will question everyone who is responsible about his charge. I heard Muhammad saying, this is not preserved. It is only correct from Muad bin Hisham, from his father, from Qatada, from Al-Hasan, from the Prophet, in Mursal form. Chapter 28. What has been related about obeying the Imam. Narrated al-Hussein al-Amasiyah. I heard a messenger of Allah delivering khutbah during the farewell Hajj, and he was wearing a burut which he had wrapped from under his armpits. She said, I was look at muscle of his upper arm quivering, and I heard him saying, O you people, have taqwa of Allah. If a mutilated Ethiopian slave is put in command over you, then listen to him and obey him, as long as he upholds the book of Allah among you. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Abu Huraira and Irbad bin Sariya. This hadith is Hasan Sahih. It has been reported through other routes from Hussein, great Sahih. Chapter 29. What has been related about no obedience to the created in disobedience to the Creator. Narrated Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, hearing and obeying is required from every Muslim man in what he likes and what he dislikes, as long as he is not ordered with disobedience. If he is ordered with disobedience, then no hearing or obeying is required of him. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Ali, Imran bin Hussein, and Al-Hakam bin Amr al-Ghifari. This hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 30. What has been related about the dislike of encouraging beasts to fight on another and striking them or branding them on the face. Narrated Abu Yahya from Mujahid from Ibn Abbas, who said, the Messenger of Allah prohibited instigating fights between beasts. Great Da'if. Abu Yahya reported from Mujahid. The Prophet prohibited instigating fights between beasts, and he did not mention from Ibn Abbas in it. It is said that this is more correct than the previous narration of Qutbah, great Da'if. Sharik narrated this hadith from Al-Amas, from Mujahid, from Ibn Abbas, from the Prophet, similarly, but he did not mention from Abu Yahya in it. This was narrated to us by Abu Kurayb, from Yahya bin Adam, from Sharik. Abu Muawiyah reported it from Al-Amas, from Mujahid, from the Prophet, similarly, and Abu Yahya is Al-Qatat al-Kufi. And it is said that his name is Sadhan. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Tala, Jabir, Abu Sa'id, and Ikras bin Duwayb. Narrated Jabir. The Prophet prohibited branding on the face and striking it. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih. Chapter 31. What has been related about the age of adulthood for a man and when he is to receive a salary. Narrated Nafi, that Ibn Umar said, I was reviewed before army, and I was 14 years old, but he did not accept me. Then I was reviewed before him later in army, while I was 15 years old, and he accepted me. Nafi said, I narrated this hadith to Umar bin Abdul Aziz, and he said, this is the limit that distinguishes between youth and manhood, that he wrote to give salaries to whoever reached 15 years of age, great Sahih. Another chain with similar, but he, Nafi, said, Umar bin Abdul Aziz said, this is the limit that distinguished between children and soldiers, and he did not mention him writing about the salary. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Ishaq bin Yusuf is a Hasan Sahih Garib hadith, as narration of Sufyan at Favri, great Sahih. Chapter 32. What has been related about one who is martyred while in debt. Narrated Abdullah bin Abi Qatada that he heard his father narrating a hadith which he heard from the Prophet, which he heard from the Messenger of Allah, in which he stood among them, mentioning to them that Jihad in the cause of Allah and faith in Allah were the most virtuous of deeds. Then a man stood and said, O Messenger of Allah, if I were killed in the cause of Allah, would my sins forgiven? So the Messenger of Allah said, yes, if you are killed in Allah's cause, and you are patient, seeking the reward, advancing, not fleeing. Then the Messenger of Allah said, what was it that you said? So he replied, if I were killed in the cause of Allah, would my sins be removed, forgiven? So the Messenger of Allah said, yes, if you are patient, seeking the reward, advancing, not fleeing, except death. For Jibril said that to me. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Anas, Muhammad bin Jash, and Abu Huraira. This hadith is Hasan Sahih. Some of them reported this hadith from Sayyid al-Makburi, from Abu Huraira, from the Prophet, similar to this. Yahya bin Sayyid al-Ansari and more than one narrator reported this from Sayyid al-Makburi, from Abdullah bin Abi Qatada, from his father, from the Prophet. This is more correct than the narration of Sayyid al-Makburi from Abu Huraira, Great Sahih. Chapter 33. What has been related about burying the martyrs. Narrated Hisham bin Amr. On the day of Uhud, the wounded complained to the Messenger of Allah, so he said, "Dig and make it wide and appropriate and bury 2 and 3 in one grave, and advance the one who knew the most Quran. My father had died, so he placed before 2 men." Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Kabab, Jabir and Anas. This hadith is Hasan Sahih. Sufyan at-Thawri and others reported this hadith from Ayub, from Humayd bin Hilal, from Hisham bin Amir, and Abu ad-Damas, a narrator in the chain. Name is Kirfa bin Buhais or Bayhas, Great Sahih. Chapter 34. What has been related about consultation. Narrated Abu Ubaidah. That Abdullah said, on the day of Badr, when the captives were gathered, the Messenger of Allah said, "What do you people say about these captives?" Then he mentioned the story in the lengthy hadith. Abu Isa said, there are narrations of this topic from Umar, Abu Ayyub, Anas, and Abu Huraira. This hadith is Hassan, and Abu Ubaidah did not hear from his father. It has been reported that Abu Huraira said, none was more apt to seek counsel of his companions than the Messenger of Allah, great Daif. Chapter 35. What has been related about not ransoming a captive's body. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The idolaters wanted to purchase the body of a man who was from the idolaters, but the Prophet refused to trade with them for him. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Gharib. We do not know of it except from a narration of Al-Hakam. Al-Hajjaj bin Arta also reported it from Al-Akam. Ahmad bin Al-Hassan said, I heard Ahmad bin Hanbal saying, Ibn Abi Layla's narrations are not used as proof. Muhammad bin Ismail said, Ibn Abi Layla is truthful, but his correct ahadith are not recognizable from his weak ones, and I do not report anything from him. Ibn Abi Layla is truthful. And Faqih, the problem is only in the chain. Nasr bin Ali narrated to us, he said, Abdullah bin Dawood narrated us from Sufyan at-Thawri, who said, or our Fuqaha are Ibn Abi Layla and Abdullah bin Shibruma, great Daif. Chapter 36. What has been related about fleeing from an advancing army. Narrated Ibn Umar. The Messenger of Allah sent us on a military expedition, and the people turned to escape. So we arrived in Al-Madinah and concealed ourselves in it. And we said, we are ruined. Then we went to the Messenger of Allah. And we said, O Messenger of Allah, we are those who fled. He said, rather you are Al-Akarun, those who are regrouping, and I am your reinforcement. Abu Isa said, This hadith is Hasan Gharib. We do not know of it except as a narration of Yazid bin Abi Ziyad, and the meaning of his saying, "The people turned to escape," is that they fled from the fighting. As for the meaning of his saying, "Rather you are al-Akarun," the Akar is the one who flees to his Imam in order that he may help him. It does not mean fleeing from the advancing army. Great Da'if. Chapter 37. What has been related about burying the one killed where he was killed. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. On the day of Uhud, my father's sister came with my father to bury him in a cemetery of ours. So one of the callers of the Messenger of Allah called out, "Return those killed to where they were lying." Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hasan Sahih, and one of the narrators, Nubay, is trustworthy. Great Sahih." Chapter 38. What has been related about meeting the one who was away when he arrives. Narrated As-Sa'ib bin Yazid. When the Messenger of Allah arrived from Tabuk, the people went out to Faniya al-Wada to meet him. As-Sa'ib said, "I went out with the people and I was a boy." Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hasan Sahih, great Sahih." Chapter 39. What has been related about Al-Fay, spoils of war. Narrated Umar bin Al-Khattab. The wealth of Banu an-Nadir was among the spoils of war which Allah granted upon His Messenger, which the Muslims did not gain with the rush of their horses nor camel. So it was purely for the Messenger of Allah, and the Messenger of Allah would set aside a year's worth of expenditure for his family. Then he would use what remained of it for horses and weapons to be used in Allah's cause. Abu Isa said, "This hadith is Hasan Sahih." Sufyan bin Uyayna reported this hadith from Mamar, from Ibn Shihab. Great Sahih.